All right. Hello. Thank you for joining me today. Today, I have the pleasure of interviewing Miss Tanya Russell, who I've watched over the last couple of years, an amazing entrepreneur and strong woman. So I thought I would bring her on here today and have her tell us a bit about her journey. So, Tanya, can you please introduce yourself and tell us a bit about your journey and your entrepreneurship journey?
Well, my name is Tanya Russell. I live in the Kelowna, British Columbia area. I have been an entrepreneur for 30 years, actually, this year, turning 48, I think. So it's a long time. I've been in self-employed or in entrepreneurial journey, doing all kinds of different things. But as of right now, I own a day spa here in Kelowna and a couple of tanning salons. I also import cars from Europe, and I'm a life coach and an author and speaker. So yeah, guys, take your pick.
Many hats, many hats.
Yeah.
So what are the key milestones and challenges in your journey, particularly as a woman in the business world, and how did you overcome them?
Oh, milestones. I think a milestone for me was just actually opening my first real storefront store was really exciting. Something that you're like, that was 20 years ago, but it was like, to me, it was like this big thing because the online wasn't a thing then, right? We were just getting cell phones back in those days. So it was really exciting.
Hard to believe.
Crazy. It was like, what? Google? What's Google? I remember actually asking somebody that one day. So that's how old I am. So yeah, that was a big milestone for me. Purchasing my own actual building was a huge milestone for me during those days. And now my milestones are more about how much free time can I have and where can I travel. So converted through the days.
Right. Yeah. And so what are some specific strategies and mindset shifts that were crucial in navigating those years?
Well, you have to, as an entrepreneur, you have to be ready, willing, and able to pivot when you need to, and because things aren't always going to go your way. So you have to be able to pivot. You have to have that mental strength to get through the times that aren't going the way that you want them to. Most recently, COVID, a lot of entrepreneurs, we had to pivot our businesses drastically to stay open. So it's just that having that mental strength and stamina to pivot when you need to.
Right. And when you were navigating those challenges, did you encounter imposter syndrome or self-doubt?
Oh, I still do.
So when that giant rears its head, what are some strategies that you use?
Well, I have a strong core group of people. It's like when I'm struggling for a day about belief in myself or whatever, I'll go to them for some encouragement. Just digging deep and thinking, I am on this journey. It's me. I was created to do this, and no one else in the world is like me, and no one else will do it like me. And so that's, in particular with my coaching business and speaking, it's, I'm a one of a kind, just like you're one of a kind, and I can't compare myself to others and where they are in their journey. And I say to people all the time, because I'm fairly young for, having the lifestyle that I have. People are like, oh, I want to travel, I want to do this, and I want to, all those things. And I'm like, yeah, you're trying to compare your chapter 1 to my chapter 20. So I have to remind myself of those things too, that in some areas of my life, I'm just in chapter 1 or 2 compared to someone else's chapter 20, and I'm in the learning curve.
Right. And do you have a team? Well, obviously you do with many brick and mortar stores. So how do you approach leadership, and what steps do you take to empower your team?
Oh, I'm the most hands-off, laid-back boss you can probably imagine. My staff will tell you that. I'm probably too laid back and too hands-off. I really believe in empowerment with your staff, teaching them what setting that expectation and then just letting them go for it. I'd rather that they attempt something, try it, and it doesn't work out, and then me kind of say, hey, that's great. This is what I might have done, or this is a suggestion. But rather than have them be stuck and stand still, I encourage them to try and do things on their own. I have a fabulous staff at all 3 of my stores. Great people. Some of them have been with me since the day I opened them. So yeah, I'm very, very blessed and very grateful to have an incredible team around me and incredible friends and an incredible like mastermind group of people that I draw from all the time.
Nice, nice. And entrepreneurs say they want a work-life balance. Do you believe it's a balance or more of an ebb and a flow? Like, sometimes you're really working your business and other times you're not, or?
Oh man, when it sucks, it's terrible and it's all work. And when it's good, it's like you're just going. Like I'm at this place, I think work-life balance when I was like in my 20s and 30s and had my kids, it didn't exist. You're working hard when you have all of those businesses and things coming up and trying to get ahead and trying to pay the bills and pay your staff and pay yourself and pay your nanny and all of those things. So there wasn't a lot of work-life balance in the growth phase. But like now, I mean, the rewards of it are I have way more free time than I spend working. So, and I travel a lot. So it's maybe out of balance in that perspective of I don't work enough now, maybe, I don't know. So yeah, I guess, yeah, I wouldn't say it's very hard to have a structured work-life balance when you're an entrepreneur, because it's just, you have to be able to pivot and
Right.
Someone calls in sick at one of my stores and there's no one to go in, I have to drop everything that I'm doing and go to work. But for the most part, I get a lot of freedom at this stage of my business. But to tell a brand new entrepreneur that you're going to have that, it's unrealistic. It's just not feasible.
Right. And so when you're in your personal practices and you need to stay focused and energized, especially in the beginning, what are some things that you did to help with that?
Well, I've always been an avid gym goer, so my morning routine is very precious to me. I don't talk to people in that 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. That's my Tanya time, I call it. I get up, I do my routine, I go to the gym or I go for a hike. I nourish myself. I drink a lot of water. I feed my brain with good stuff in terms of like positive input. And that's fairly non-negotiable for me, that time in the morning. And that was that way even when I was an entrepreneur. I remember my kids kicking and screaming as I drug them out of bed at 5:30 in the morning to the daycare room at the gym so that I could have my workout time, because I needed that mental time to myself, and that, the energy from that, from a physical perspective.
Right. And so what advice would you give to aspiring female entrepreneurs who are looking to start their own businesses?
Get a good mentor, someone that you trust, because there's a lot of bad mentors, a lot of bad advice out there right now. So someone that's done it, not just someone behind the desk at a bank that's never been an entrepreneur before. Make sure you have the cash flow or the ability for the financing. If you're opening a store that requires, lease payments and all those things, I see a lot of businesses go sideways just because they have poor cash flow. So yeah, looking at all of those things is really important, and make sure it's something you're passionate about, because you're probably going to spend a lot of hours every day doing it. So hope you love it.
And are there any specific skills or qualities that you believe they need to be successful?
Grit. Definitely grit. Because no matter what business you're in, you're going to come up against things. You're going to come up with people incidences. You're going to come up with, stuff that just comes out of left field, and you need to be able to push through no matter what, because that paycheck isn't coming every 2 weeks like it is when you have a job. No one's really coming to rescue you. You've got to have that grit and that push through for yourself.
Right, for sure. And so how do you define success, and how has that definition evolved over time?
Oh, my definition of success today is way different than it was when I was 20. And I actually coach on this now because I find it so important. My definition of success for me is, do I have control over my time, and how much am I traveling? Because for me, I have lots of places on my bucket list that I want to see. And does this business, this life that I'm creating, is it Is it constricting the amount of time that I have, or is it going to eventually expand the amount of time I have for myself? And how often can I jump on an airplane and get away? And we talked a little bit prior to this, like, I'm heading to Africa next month and another big trip planned for the fall. And so success to me is my ability to travel and see the things that I want to see. But that could be completely different for somebody else. And that wasn't my definition of success when my kids were young and I was working hard. So it changes over time, but you need to know what that is so that you can feel the joy. Like, I'm successful because I'm living the life that I wanted to live. I worked hard to create this, and this is my successful life. Even though maybe the dollar numbers weren't what, when you're a kid and you're like, I want to make 10 million a year. I don't care about $10 million if I don't have any time. Right. So it all changes.
For sure. Yeah. And so you talked about mentors and role models. Did you have at the beginning some good mentors and role models, or did you kind of find them along the way?
Well, I had an amazing family life growing up. My dad started me in the entrepreneurship stuff. He actually had me take an accounting course to help with his accounting when he started his business. I was like 16 or something. So he believed in me. And so I got my little taste of that actual, what is it to be a businesswoman, when I was very, very young. And hence starting my own business when I was like 18. So I've been in it for a long time. And I always believed in finding someone who had or knew what I needed to know or had what I wanted to have. And so I've always sought out people and advice from people that were, a step or two ahead of me. Even to this day, I have coaches, and I believe in that.
Right. And how important do you think networking is for entrepreneurs, and what tips would you have for them to build a strong network?
Well, there is a saying, your network is your net worth. So I guess it's important. It so helps to be able to, when you run into something, to be able to phone somebody and say, hey, this is a problem I'm having. Do you know someone who would have a solution that you could trust? Because there's, just picking some random person off of the internet or off of Google to help you with something, chances are you're not going to get what you're paying for. And so to have that referral system, to have people send, like in my network, sending people to me for my services, what I do as a coach and a speaker and a business person, I think it's very valuable. And I think it's going to become even more valuable as our economy is changing. Like, people are going to want to work. Well, they always want to work with someone that they know, like, and trust. So the more people you can have in that circle of know, like, and trust, the better off in the long run.
Right. Yeah. And so many entrepreneurs engage in philanthropy and giving back. Do you have any initiatives or causes that are important to you? And how do you incorporate that into your balance of all your hats?
Yeah, all my hats. Always been a giver. I give to my church, and part of my trip in Africa is going to be philanthropic with working with a girls' school, and just depends. Like, I don't have anything specific that I'm like, so passionate about, but if something moves me, you feel it in my heart, feel it in my spirit, then I go for it. So, definitely, I think you get the majority of your fulfillment in life from giving back to others. And so it's a huge part of my life for sure.
Mm-hmm. And the more you make, the more you can give, right? So
exactly.
It leads right back to the beginning.
The more time you have to give of your time, right? Some people don't look at the philanthropic as, it's can be as simple as donating blood, like something you have that someone else needs. So, it doesn't have to be a major big thing, but it's still a give back.
Right. And so what are your future goals and aspirations for your business?
Well, my focus now is on my speaking and coaching business. My aspirations for that is to make as big of an impact as I can with the years that I have left on the planet. And in saying that, it's like my passion is to help my particular coaching programs right now are focused on women, people who I once was. I was a single mom for a long time and didn't know a lot, but I reached out and got help from other people. And I just want to compress the time frame that it took me to learn all of those hard life lessons and business lessons for people so that they can launch and have a quicker start to their success than it took me to learn. I mean, it didn't take me 30 years, but I learned a lot of lessons over 30 years that I can compress for people into a short time frame. So that's what my passion is.
Yeah. Nice. And are there any projects or ventures that you want to share with the audience that they can join? I know you have your lifemyway.ca website. Is that where they
lifemyway.ca has all my social media handles that I just follow me there. I have a Women Imagine group on Facebook. We have over 4,000 incredible women in there now that I post daily motivational stuff. That's
I'm one of them. I'm one of the 4,000.
It's a faith-based community. So if you're, you don't have to be a part of it, but you're going to hear a little bit about God in there for sure. And and I'm about to launch my next phase of my coaching group for women. So that'll all be announced in my groups on my social media and on my website. It's lifemyway.ca. And if you just want to get a really good taste of who I am, follow me on Facebook. That's where I'm most active, or grab my book on Amazon for $4, I think it is. And you'll get a really good taste of, where I come from and the foundational stuff that I built my life and my business around.
Nice. And you'll see a picture of her on her motorbike. She's also a motorbike enthusiast too.
Yeah, I love my motorcycles and my dirt bike, and all those fun things, hiking, and all the wonderful things the Okanagan has to offer.
Right. Yes, for sure. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your week, and we'll see each other in the community because we're both from here. So thank you for joining me.
Yes, thanks for the invite. It was wonderful. Great to get to chat with you some more.
Yes. All right. Have a great day.
You too.